And the aforementioned back with us here, Barrett, Sallee, BMAC. Barrett, Gary Danielson brought up a good point there. Can a passing team beat this Georgia defense?
No, they can't. I mean, look, I know Will Levis had some success. He was 13 of 16 in the first half. But that last drive, I mean, throw that last drive away. There was one good sustained drive that was not in garbage time in this game. And, you know, Georgia clamped down after that. So I don't believe that a steady passing attack can beat this Georgia team, because you can't get one. That's the thing, is that you see Lewis Seen and the rest of these guys at the back end of the Georgia defense. Well, they're all SEC or All-American players, and they're getting helped by the best defensive front in the country. And so if you're going to beat Georgia through the air, you're going to have to take 5 and 7 step drops. And no quarterback in the country wants to do that against Jordan Davis and this crew. So no, I don't. You can't run against them. You can't pass against them. What you need to do to beat Georgia is you need to force Stetson Bennett to make a ton of mistakes. You need to force those running backs to make some mistakes, to force fumbles, and give your offense short fields. Because, yes, we saw Kentucky go on 2 very long drives. One of them, Georgia didn't even care about. The other one was impressive, but how many times has that happened to Georgia this year? It hasn't happened very much.
BMAC, you agree with Barrett?
Well, I think a passing team would provide the best competition for Georgia, because clearly the strength of their defense is on the front. They basically have 4 pros on their front and maybe 2 legit first rounders, to say the least. But if you're going to pass the football against them guys, your quarterback has to be a big time athlete. He got to be a guy that can make people miss. He got to be a guy that can buy extra time in the pocket. He has to be a guy that can become a running back at any given time. You can't just be a pocket quarterback. And Will Levis had success, but we know he's not the best athlete at the quarterback position in college football. So running the football, you might as well cancel Christmas. I'm sorry, kids. You don't want to hear that, but you don't have any luck running the football against UGA. But you may have some luck, and Barrett came up with some big-time points. The pass rush. That's why it's imperative to have an athlete at the quarterback position that can buy time, because he will need to buy himself time. But running the football is one thing you will not do, and you won't have any success trying to do that.
He had a good point there, a running quarterback, and we saw Stetson Bennett pick up a nice gainer that led to the Zamir White touchdown in the first half. So he's able to extend drives with his legs just as much as he can with his arm. And again, he improves to 7-2 as a starter. Gary Danielson said it'd be tough to replace him even when JT Daniels comes back fully healthy. So Georgia wins again, 7-0. 30-13 is the final from Athens. Much more ahead from BMAC and Barrett, Sallee here on CBS Sports HQ. For all things, check out Bryant McFadden on his podcast. Back out to Athens, welcome in Gary Danielson. The Dogs defense holds the Cats to 13 points as they beat Kentucky for a 12th straight time. Gary, how would you describe this Georgia defense?
Well, I think I'd first start with talented, then I'd go with a lot of depth, and then next hungry. This is a defense that has gotten close. You know, this program has gotten close. They were close to the national championship. They were close against Alabama when Jalen Hurts came in and stole that game at the end of that game. And I think they're very hungry to get that next step, that last step in this program. They know they're good, and now they want to prove to everybody that they're better than anyone.
Offensively, Georgia continues to produce. From your perspective, has Stetson Bennett done enough to hang on to the starting quarterback job once JT Daniels is fully healthy?
You know, I don't get to watch JT Daniels. I haven't seen him play in practice much this year. Personally, I don't see how you can switch quarterbacks. I mean, JT Daniels can be your backup and come off and light a fire if things stall out. But if I'm Kirby, what Stetson Bennett's bringing to the team, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's kind of like the team. He's kind of like Kirby. I mean, he does a lot of things. I mean, he's got a good enough arm. And he's got a lot of talent. He uses the tight ends smartly. I think Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, has gotten comfortable calling plays with Stetson Bennett. I don't think they should make a change.
Stetson Bennett improving to 7-2 as a starter as he gets another win, leading Georgia to a victory over Kentucky. The Dogs ascending to #1 in the country as they jump Alabama after the Tide got upset by Texas A&M last week. Gary, what's Georgia's biggest vulnerability? Because we sit here and give them praise, but what's a concern that you have out of this Georgia team?
I would say a good passing team. I mean, you saw what, I think Kentucky is still growing into a throwing team, and Will Levis showed a lot, but they do not have 3, 4, 5 receivers that attack you at different levels. I think, considering that Georgia lost 6 defensive backs, 2 corners that went to the NFL, I would think that a passing team is the next step for Georgia. Can the pass rush be enough? Or can somebody come in here and throw, 35, 40 times with a good defense? And, then it starts to narrow down who can do that. You're down to the Ohio States, the Alabamas. We'll see in Florida next in a couple weeks. Florida could score a lot of points on everyone and have a pretty solid defense. But everybody knows, Kirby knows, there's no easy route now for Georgia. They're going to have 3 or 4 games. Everybody does who wins a championship, where it goes into that fourth quarter and they have to pull out a victory. But this team is very hungry, and I like their chances.
Georgia has outscored its opponents 269-40 through the first 7 games of its season. Another win on this day against Kentucky. Gary Danielson joining us post-game here on CBS Sports HQ. Gary, thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
Georgia gets a week off, then takes on Florida in its next game. As you take a look at the final box score from Athens, Georgia victorious 30-13. Again, Kentucky covers once again. They are 6-0 against the spread versus FBS teams this season, and the game barely goes under the total of 44.5. We had a situation there on a blocked extra point. If Georgia returns that, it's a 32-13 game, and a game goes over the total. Instead, you cash with the under. Both Barrett, Sallee told you to take the under, and Bryant, McFadden told you to take the under earlier on CBS Sports HQ.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.